So what we're looking at today is this whole phenomenon that you see in a lot of online creative communities, the humble review. Now, on the surface, it looks like simple gratitude. It feels like appreciation, like love even. But when you look closer, it's actually something a bit darker. It's a social ritual that rewards people for burning out and punishes them for knowing their own worth. We're about to put one right under the microscope. All right, so this is our specimen, the full review. It praises the reader as, and I quote, always active, kind, and humble, not carrying any ego of your talent. Now, at first glance, it seems totally fine, right? It just looks like a simple, polite thank you. But as we're about to see, every single word here is coded. It's carrying a hidden weight. So that's the big question, isn't it? Is this just a nice person saying thanks? Or is it something more like a kind of unwritten contract for unpaid work? Well, that's the central question of our little investigation today. So let's look a little closer.
Okay, so the review kicks off with, thank you for the reading. It's on point. This is that opening ritual, the polite little exchange that gets everything started. But what's really being exchanged here? It's not just a compliment.
It's a concept we can call transactional flattery. See, in this kind of economy, praise becomes the payment. A little hit of dopamine replaces actual dollars. The whole system runs on getting validation, not on being valued.
And that little phrase, on point, well, that's basically the pocket change of feedback. It's cheap, it's vague, and it costs the person saying it absolutely nothing. What it signals is that the reviewer values the accuracy, sure, but not the reader's actual time or their energy. It just turns an intuitive gift into simple piecework. But of course, the praise keeps coming. Next up, we have the words consistent and genuine. Now again, these sound like really nice compliments, but in this economy, they carry a very specific, hidden meaning.
So let's decode this language, because the compliment is also a command. Consistent doesn't just mean you're good at what you do, it means you're reliably available to be drained. And genuine, that becomes code for someone who won't say no, someone who doesn't set any boundaries. You see what's happening? These words are like a leash, but it's a leash made of lace. It's pretty, but it's still a leash. Every single word of praise is also a form of behavioral programming. It's a subtle way of domesticating the reader, training them to believe that this constant, unpaid devotion, that's a virtue.
And this brings us to what I call the holy trinity of exploitation: active, kind, and humble. This isn't just a description of a person, it's a set of instructions. It's basically a checklist for burnout, but it's recited like it's a blessing.
Let's translate these, shall we? Active means you're always on, you respond instantly, no boundaries. Kind means you never say no, you just absorb whatever people throw at you. And humble, oh, this is maybe the most important one. It means you never, ever assert your own value or ask to be paid for your work.
And here's the really insidious part. When a system teaches its healers and creatives that saying no is a sign of a big ego, you don't end up creating saints, you create ghosts. You just get these incredibly gifted people who are completely burned out, who eventually vanish because the cost of being kind is just way too high.
And this line right here, this is the punchline to every free labor fairy tale ever told. It's the absolute core of the manipulation, where the reader is literally being praised for making themselves small, for pretending they don't know their own worth. So what's crucial to understand is how the system completely rebrands self-respect and turns it into a character flaw. In this world, ego isn't arrogance. It's simply having boundaries. It's valuing your own time. And the culture demands that you suppress that self-respect if you want to be applauded.
And look, this is not unique to psychic readings. This is the exact same logic that's used to exploit artists and writers and healers everywhere. Do it for the exposure, they say. Right, but exposure doesn't pay the bills. It just burns you out a whole lot faster.
Okay, so finally we get to the end of the review, the grand finale. I highly recommend you. Now, on the surface, this sounds great, right? A generous referral. But what is its real function inside this economy? Yeah, let's be real. This isn't a recommendation, it's a recruitment ad. It's basically shouting to the entire group, hey everyone, over here, I found a new well that hasn't run dry yet. Every tag, every referral is just a breadcrumb trail leading more and more takers to the same unpaid worker, which only speeds up the burnout. So, after dissecting our specimen, it is time for the final verdict.
What are the autopsy findings? What's the core pathology here?
Well, the findings are pretty clear. The core pathology is chronic self-sacrifice, but it's presented as a virtue. The cause of burnout is a diet of unpaid compassion and a constant search for validation. The main symptom? Glorifying exhaustion. And the telltale sign is when you see the words kind and humble being used as both a compliment and a leash. And this brings us to our central conclusion. These reviews, they aren't just thank you notes. They are informal contracts, written in the sweet, sugary language of praise, but with all the terms and conditions hidden in plain sight. And you have to understand, these posts don't just thank one reader, they program all the future readers. They set the terms for everybody, whispering the unspoken rules of the game. If you want our praise, you have to accept our price, which is nothing. So the true subtext, that silent instruction woven through all of those glowing words, is really this. Be endlessly available, be endlessly kind, and be endlessly unpaid. It's a constant, relentless demand for free labor just disguised as a celebration of generosity. The thing is, the language of flattery is so often the blueprint for exploitation. But once you learn to read the subtext, once you see the code behind the compliments, you just start to see it everywhere. And that's the point. You can't unsee it. This forensic analysis is now complete. Case closed.